fun-loving, exciting things. We are going to make a ton of mistakes, but we are going to go as fast as we possibly can.
I would much rather close 50% of the right customers versus like 100% of the wrong customers.
This is a huge opportunity that is ripe for innovation. It's already what we do. We're going to blow doors off of it.
Is there any other advice you'd have for startup founders out there as they're on their journey? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. Before we dive into today's episode, a quick shout out to our friends at NCW, the team that's been building one of the fastest growing staffing and recruiting companies in America for over 25 years. They specialize in the skilled trades, but here's the thing, they're also growing their own internal team. If you or someone you know is interested in recruiting, sales, or just making businesses run smoother, you'll want to check them out at teamncw.com. This is just another job pitch. NCW has been voted a top workplace by the Indy Star, landed on the IBJ Fast 25 list, and made the Inc. 5000 list multiple times. I'll tell you, I've got plenty of friends who work there and they all love it. Go check out teamncw.com. Now let's get into the episode. My guest today is Ben Forrest, the founder and CEO of Olio, an Indiana-based healthcare technology company that is transforming the coordination of complex patient care. Under his leadership, Olio recently raised $11 million in Series B funding to expand innovation and market reach. He is a lifelong Hoosier and a graduate of Indiana University. Ben is passionate about building companies that improve lives while keeping Indiana at the center of innovation. Today, we're going to be talking about the early journey of Olio that started right here in this building. So before this was the global headquarters of Get In, this was the global headquarters of Olio. We're going to talk about the success you guys had, the landscape of tech in Indiana and innovation, and all the fun things. Ben, we're welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm a huge fan. I think what you're doing is important. I think this content is needed. The exposure to our state has been phenomenal. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
And those aren't just words that Ben says just because he's here in the seat. I recently realized that you saw one of our videos and put some action behind it.
Yeah.
So we posted a video. Jemai Ozdemir came on and talked about Eli Coffee being like this awesome up-and-coming hustler that serves coffee up at Oswell. And you brought him into the Olio office.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to spotlighting good things. And I saw, one of your questions and I was like, well, let's try that. And so we had a board meeting. I was like, let's bring this guy in. And it was great. My board came in from Atlanta and Ohio, and we had all of our employees there, and Eli was there rocking it. Dude, and it was amazing.
Does he not make some of the best coffee? Like his latte mocha stuff?
It's kind of, it's a little overwhelming in a good way that you're like, I don't know what to order. I don't have a clue. But how cool is it that he's got a flair of uniqueness that from a professionalism perspective brings this card into your building, and our team was like, what is up today? So it was great.
And you just create this memory. I'm reading a book about moments, and it's all about like how do you create more like memorable moments. Yeah. So it's like basically this is a little side tangent, but I love it.
That's cool.
So it talks about, think about if you had to rate the top 10 moments of your life of like what you remember, and how so many of them come in the first 30 years. And then it's like, graduate high school, get your driver's license, turn 21, get married, have a kid, like all that stuff happens like in those first 30 years. Yep. And then you get past 30 and it's like, I don't know, turning 50 and then retirement. And so it's like, how do you create more of these memorable experiences and build that into your life and build that into your routine on maybe monthly or weekly or whenever you can do it. And like, a day that a bougie coffee cart comes in and serves, like everyone's like, wow, it's not just an average Tuesday at the office. I love it.
That's right.
Well, I want to talk about your journey with Olio. So I've known about Olio, I would say since a year after inception. So one of your early employees was the same class of or fellowship as I was. So Meg Stewart, shout out.
Man, the legend.
I just remember her talking about, she might have been employee like 6.
She was our first female employee, maybe sub 5. I'm actually excited about Meg. She's moving back to the Midwest. She's in Boston now, moving to Chicago. So we'll get to see her. It's easier for her to get down. Go. She was in our office. She was local to us for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. But that was kind of our first foray to the Orr Fellowship. And rock star.
And you guys were like a true tech startup, right? It's
Yeah.
like 6 employees.
Yeah.
You're working out of an old church.
Yeah.
And you're just like making it happen.
We were screwing things up on the daily.
Well, talk to me about like where this idea came from
Yeah.
and what you started doing, and then where you really found some traction.
Where things started was I've always been in healthcare. Well, since '05, so 20 years of my career has been in some way, shape, or form in healthcare, med device, and then it just gave me a front row seat to a lot of senior leadership within healthcare, exclusively in the state of Indiana. Big health systems, a lot in the orthopedic surgeon community, and just kept hearing the same problem over and over. Like I'd love to be able to that guy to go, hey, I just had this desire to be an entrepreneur. It wasn't that. I wanted to be successful, but I just kept hearing this problem. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs get consumed with something they think they can solve, and that becomes the driving force. And that's how it was for us.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you really become obsessed with a piece, like we're so obsessed with content.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we want to shine light and do, and then it all starts to like work.
Yeah.
Versus I feel like for years I was on the sidelines of like, oh, I want to build a company, and and it was like not focused on solving, like seeing this need and filling that need. And then it's like once you start doing that, it's like the dominoes start to go.
It starts to go because at the basic principle, supply and demand. Well, if you're solving a lot of problem a lot of folks have, I don't care what it is, the supply is there.
So what was the problem that you saw?
The landscape of healthcare is changing. That patients are getting, obviously everybody knows boomers are they're booming into their later years, and people providing care needed to be more coordinated. They needed to be in the know. They needed to have a process and a workflow. And I just kept hearing the same things, like we don't work with these people well. We don't even know who to work with. And I know that sounds crazy, and you would think that that's not a thing. But now 8 years of being obsessed with that problem, we're barely scratching the surfaces of solving it still. So that was the kind of thing that I saw and went out to try to solve for.
Like I think a lot of times the common person can get jumbled in tech companies, right? It's like AI this and transformative innovation. We're doing all this crazy. But like, what did that mean? Like, what was the core problem where you guys launched your MVP and said, like, this is a problem that we're going to solve within the healthcare industry?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a thief. If a lawyer ever asks me that, I'll deny it. But, we saw as like, we could solve this with technologies that kind of already have been designed, right? That the world knows. And it was almost like a CRM is a basic tool that brings the right folks within a business together to discuss a client, right?
Yeah.
Why should patient care coordination be any different, right? The problem is that not everybody works at the same place, right?
Dude.
So MVP was kind of that. Let's take a CRM look and feel from a UX design, make it super simple so that multiple users could come in and work together without having an extensive training, right?
Yeah.
And that has been a core philosophy since day one. We didn't hire one person in healthcare with a healthcare background for like our first 3.5 years. We literally leaned on heavy on the Indianapolis tech community. Shout out to Mike Reynolds and the Innovate Map team, Lacey Lavies from Innovate Map. And we were like, let's make Olio this healthcare application that has a lot of like tried and true software bones and foundations.
Well, that is the crazy part. Just like healthcare in general today is there's not tech people. Like there are people that get into this business.
Yeah.
One, the two sides of it that are interesting. One, the providers that go in there do so because they want to serve people. They want to help people. They want to make healthier people. Then they realize that, this is a business. And like sometimes that looks like, working on your bottom line and doing all these things.
That's right.
And then somewhere in the insurance comes in and all these different things that make it really, really hard to provide top level patient care at like an affordable price.
No doubt. I mean, it is always present. You mentioned that keyword bottom line. We're seeing it right now. I mean, it is what it is. Administration changes. I mean, I say this. I said this internally at Olio last week. Olio's not had successive presidents in its history. Well, that means administration, CMS changes guidelines, all the boring things of healthcare. But what that really means is the market shifts and bottom lines change, and then the people that are set up to deliver healthcare get impacted by P&L.
Yeah. So take me through, because you were before Olio. What were you doing?
Med device. I was the Indiana distributor for Stryker Spine.
For Strike, which
Yeah.
is a phenomenal job.
Yeah,
You know, like,
killer.
like you could do
Amazing.
that for a career,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you could have a lake house, and
Yeah.
you could be chilling. You know, like for real, right? Like,
It could be good.
yeah. So it's like, what got you from this? I mean, I'd say pretty cush. Like, not,
Yeah.
and you're doing good work. Like everyone at Stryker, nothing but respect. But
Yeah.
like, you could do that job 25, 30
Yeah.
years or whatever, and retire and be doing very well for yourself.
Yep.
Why did you want to leave a stable, tried and true, proven career to go start a tech company?
Yeah, I mean, I remember sitting in this very building when the pandemic hit, wondering, what did I give up to be here now with the adversity we all kind of had at that time? Back to that obsession thing. Me and my business partner, Matt Gothard, had employees. They were doing great work. It afforded freedom to kind of look around the corner, see what was there, to grow that business. And it kind of goes back to that obsession around the problem that I kept hearing.
From within Stryker? You
Yeah,
had
so Stryker awarded me and a business partner the distribution rights.
Oh,
So
you were kind of like running your own.
Yeah, it's kind of like entrepreneurship on training wheels.
Oh, that's nice.
So you got this big brand you get to represent. You're your own party. You sell their products, but you don't have the fear of you don't have near the pressures that a standard entrepreneur has.
Yeah. Okay. So you were doing that, and doing all right, and that gave you the ability to look around and say, what are the problems that you need to solve?
Yeah.
And you came up with this coordinating patient care.
I started out as a consultant type of idea, like, oh, we'll consult these people we know very well about some of the things they may need to consider, and it quickly turned into, no, we could build a product here. And then you'd have to do the things that you do. I had to have conversations with my business partner. I'm spending too much. I mean, as folks are creating opportunities for themselves and others, sometimes you got to break up with where you are, And so having tough conversations with my business partner and coming to an agreement that, like, I am obsessed with trying to build this new business. I need to sell my shares to you, and we need to let you go do this thing that we've been building for years now.
And so when did that moment come where you went all in on Olio?
Yeah, it was February of 18 was like the official drop dead. Like, I had sold my ownership for my existing ventures, like, because you can't raise $1 if people think you're out there side hustling and this is that and that's this.
Dude, isn't that crazy? I probably spent the first 5 years of my career like always having a side hustle, always like like learning, failing, like figuring. And then it was like, once you find the thing and you're just like, this is it.
This is it.
Dude, cut it.
Get it out of the way.
Strip it all down.
And time means everything too. I'm 46 now. I was 38. It's like, if I'm going to shoot my shot, it's now, and then it was just like blinder time. Like, okay.
Yeah. So you get out of the med device space.
Yep.
And what does March 2017 look like?
It's knocking on Barry Wormser's door.
Barry, what a guy.
And
Good
going,
dude.
Hey man, we need to create a PPM. Is that right? Yeah. To go out and raise some money via convertible notes. I need all the legal documentation. I can't bootstrap this thing. Digital healthcare has a lot of compliance, et cetera, that, like, you can't just write code.
Did you know anything about raising money, venture?
Nothing. Purely just a dummy. I mean, when I say, like, that was probably one of the most difficult parts. I could sell the idea and the vision. It was like the terms of a convertible note, like your discount, your interest rate. When's it going to convert to equity?
You have to read the Brad Feld book, right?
Yeah. Like, you're just grinding it, and, you do some dumbass pitches and it doesn't go well. And then you start to figure it out, and it is what it is.
How long were you on that? Like, and then what were you looking to raise? How did that first?
That's funny you asked that, because, like, we've raised $31 million now. And I vividly remember saying, oh, we're only going to need like $1.5 million to get this thing to, like, cash flow positive. Like, and that was an absolute joke. So yeah, we set out, I think the first time was like, we're going to raise $1.5 million. That turned into $7 million from angels.
Oh, wow. So people believed in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On.
We
like,
started
oversubscribed. That's crazy.
We started cranking. I mean, it was 3 different tranches that got us to 7, but before Series A, we signed United Healthcare. We signed IU Health. So there was a heavy belief.
Like, why who was on the team? at that point?
The original crew, I think the logos are really what. At first $1.5 million, it was, a lot of Eric Hubner is a close friend, college roommate, still involved in the business on my board today, helping piece together kind of folks from our med device background, orthopedic surgeons that understood the problem, kind of lived the problem to some extent, could throw and had the liquidity to invest. If you recall, like pre 2020, the market was really good. And even the Indiana tax credit does a huge help to
Yeah, the VCI.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal. If you have the opportunity to, hey, look, write us a check for $50,000, you're getting 20% of that back day one on a tax credit. That's a pretty big advantage for an early stage company trying to raise a little bit of cash.
You get $1.5 million in to start.
Yeah. Meg Stewart comes on, the world changes.
Yeah, there
for
we
us.
go. And that puts you at like 5 employees?
Yeah,
Where
probably.
did you get the building?
So this was actually stop 2. We had a little shop in Carmel. We probably were somewhere around 10 employees, I'd guess. Myself and a couple buddies bought this building. And
What was it before?
it was
Obviously it was a
obviously
church.
It was the church. It
Oh,
was
so the church went under and you guys purchased
church
it.
went under. We got a great deal on the building. It was awesome. Location's
It was
killer.
a little bit like what did that first, like, were you like removing pews when you started?
Oh yeah, like baptismal pools, the whole deal. Like this thing had.
Were you a little bit like, oh, Father, forgive us for like what
It
we're
was
about-
a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. Like you're like, is this okay? And then there was actually somewhere around the corner. There's a co-working space that was a church as well.
Yeah, Cohatch.
Cohatch,
down
yes.
there.
And they were kind of going through the same thing. We're like, well, if they're doing it, the Lord's gonna be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, like come on. Like the Lord knows we just raised our seat down. Like, come on.
And we were real passionate about just giving our engineers a good place and fun place to work. And we've always been fortunate that most of our technical talent has been local. Almost all of it, still to this day. So we're like, let's make this happen.
And I will say, for like the start, like the true startup vibe, it's tough to find a better place than this.
No.
Like you're right in the heart of Broad Ripple. You're in an old church. Like if you go upstairs, like so Dan Hanrahan and his company, they're upstairs right now.
Yeah.
So like they're rocking and rolling up there. Like we've got down
I'm gonna
here.
have to knock on that door on the way out.
It's sick and it's very fun. So how many employees did you guys grow through this space?
We actually let the employees participate in the ownership of the building if they wanted to. They had to write a check, but they got to go on the cap table. Until Olio's a tenant, we're literally distributing to our employees as a member and ownership of the landlord, a building ownership, right? So that like some of the people have been with us a long time.
Why?
Because we thought it was a cool thing to do. We need a space to work in. They participated at a much smaller scale than others.
Yeah, but even if you put in, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 or whatever, like.
I mean, some of those people that did just that got a check for $25,000 when we sold the building.
Yeah, like, shout out Hazzy.
Yeah,
come on, dude.
Exactly. And so, it would seem like a good idea.
You bought that like in 2019.
That sounds exactly right. Yeah, I think we bought the building 2019, moved in, pandemic hits. This place was basically dead for us for the first 9 months. So we did all this work, rehab this old church, super cool, great vibe, and then it was empty.
Lucky you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is what it is. And then we got to the point where if you've been, anybody's been in a church, one thing is hard to do. Churches are built so that you can speak and the sound goes through the building. I don't know if you guys deal with that. You probably not so much down here, but if somebody's doing a call upstairs in the main sanctuary of a church, everyone hears it, And so as we started to really have we had to tell people to be quiet too often, and that's not fun, right? To be like, guys, keep it down, or you're eating your lunch and we got a big call on the West Coast or whatever. And so we outgrew it more from a vault of audio level than we did like people getting in each other's way.
That's super fun. So you go through there, you got the building, you're growing the team.
Yep.
But explain the MVP product that got you your first round of customers.
Yeah.
Like what did it do technically?
I'll use IU Health as an example. IU Health discharges patients to 300 or so skilled nursing and home health providers on a daily basis.
Okay, so someone ends up in the emergency room or wherever.
An old lady falls, breaks her hip.
Yep.
Right. Everybody knows about that. Everybody's had somebody's that. And then they got a broken hip. They got their hip probably surgically repaired. They get discharged, and let's say they're from Bloomfield. Well, they're not going to leave the hospital and go next door to the nursing home to the hospital or to get intensive therapy to hopefully get back home, they're going to go back to where they're from, right? And so the problem is that hospital team is usually fairly disconnected from, say, Whispering Meadows in Bloomfield, Indiana, right?
I love that you know that.
Well, that's a fake name, but it sounds good, doesn't
sounds legit. Like I was like, holy shit, he pulled that out. Like I know all the high school mascots and he knows all the skilled nursing
There is
facilities.
a chance I know a lot of them, but not all of them. But anyway, so the point is like, how are you going to work with that team inside Whispering Meadows if you work at IU Health, right? You're calling them. You don't even know who to call, frankly. You don't even know that grandma is at Whispering Meadows. And so we built the platform is effectively to build that connectivity, not necessarily integrate, but to fill a void that it otherwise didn't exist.
You're telling me that people's medical records like don't just like flop back and forth?
I mean, that's not surprising to you. I mean, it probably will happen sooner rather than later. There's a lot of work being done there, but I wish it were even that simple. Like all of our customers across the country, we didn't unseat a technology that existed ever. Like we've never done that. We're actually close for the first time with a big deal we're working out in Utah, where they're choosing us over something they've tried before.
Yeah.
But it's usually like, I use the analogy, my team hates it, but like we're more like, you didn't know that software could get you a ride from work today to the bar later until Uber brought those people together in a technology, right?
Yeah, because before it was like you had to call, like it wasn't a technology
exactly.
solution.
So similar deal. If you work at Deaconess in Evansville and you got a patient in Vincennes in a nursing home or getting provided care from a home health provider, before Olio shows up, you got to track down, where did we discharge this patient to? Okay, it's been 10 days. Let me go find them in the ether.
And you go call.
And you go call and dial for dollars and try to find, Wilma that's working on,
And the only reason you would call would be because you want to provide good care. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to call.
You don't have to call, and that's where the evolutions of healthcare are changing, and where now like health systems and insurance companies are heavily incentivized to be more involved in the patient's journey beyond just the hospital.
That's
otherwise.
crazy to me.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty unbelievable.
I've always thought like, we're going back and like clicking and clacking on your records or whatever. It's like, how is that all not connected?
You would think it is, and it's going to get connected. I don't know that the people will get connected, though. That's what's interesting, meaning that the stakeholders that actually provide care to complex patients, the data might come through, but what do you do when you have the data, right?
I feel like you should almost have like an Apple Wallet for all your like my eye records and my medical and my I don't know, I got sick or I broke. Like what am I allergic? Like I should be able to just like click like one tap and it fill out all the like prior conditions and stuff based on like my internal record.
That'll happen. I mean, it's not, we're not far off from that type of amazing stuff going. I mean, there's announcements every day.
Okay. So you guys set out to just connect that and help when you're discharging patients out to different places. We're going to help make sure that there's a seamless communication there.
Yeah, that's effectively that all things are coordinated. Just simple process to work through. I mean, that IU Health example, that's 350 spots, and the amount of activity is pretty unbelievable.
Who was the first customer?
First customer ever was Central Indiana Orthopedics in Anderson.
How did that feel? You go in there and you're pitching this idea.
Yeah.
You have an MVP at the point?
You got the first customer using PowerPoint slides on what the software would look like. Literally, just like every software company, and I encourage it, gave it away just to see if we could get some traction and learn what we had. We were already all in, so we didn't we were off the dock. We were going to be in bad spot if the users hated our technology. And so we got that first customer. And the thing that was really not fun was it took 3 months for them to put a patient in the product. So they had access, we're ready to go. And I remember the patient's name was Norma. It'll never not be lore within Olio. We're sitting around waiting, when is this going to happen? It'd be like if you opened a pizza shop and it took 3 months for somebody to come in and order some damn pizza. And so finally Norma gets put in and the users popped off pretty fast. It was just whoa. And we've always grown our business off of these users that work in the community. Everybody knows about IU Health and about Community Health and United and Anthem, but not many people know about the team at Cardon, which is a really nice long-term care provider in the state. Those are the folks that were this really works. and they told Deaconess and they told IU Health, and those were customers number 2 and 3. Like literally, Norma went in the product. We made like a month of back and forth. That was good.
Like Norma goes in, you guys are calling like, hey, everything good? Like,
we were showing up with pizzas at the place where Norma was to be like, what worked? Like, was this good, bad, whatever? And it was a bit of unicorns and rainbows type of talk. And that just goes back to like the Uber analogy. Like Uber's so great because it works,
Yeah.
And we were just solving a problem. These folks wanted to work together, and we made it easy. That was it. That's all we did.
And so, like, what were the tasks they were able to accomplish by putting Norma into the product?
Yeah, they were able to understand, like, who am I working with that's at Whispering Meadows, to use that. I know who. Now, instead of not knowing where Norma is, I know Norma's at Bethel Point. That's the actual place she was. I know that Tammy's helping care for Norma. I know that Rhonda is the social services coordinator that's going to help get Rhonda home at some point. And when I want to talk and work with these people tomorrow, they're going to be there inside this software product called Olio, and we can discuss these things.
I love that. That makes sense. So it helped just get communication between where she was, where she's at, and where she's going.
Yeah, and like just simple things like that team inside that facility was able to say, hey, everything's going good here. You don't need to worry about it. Like simple thumbs up. Like it's crazy how like people think the medical record needs to be all these things, and it does. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes it's like, hey, we're doing a good job over here. We need you guys to know everything's going good. Yeah. And that's what we did.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's so. Where'd the name Olio come from?
We wanted to be cool, if we're being honest.
Heck yeah.
Again, brutal honesty. Like we use a phrase inside Olio, which is not an uncommon phrase. I call your baby ugly. Like sometimes I think it's very important we talk to our customers and tell them very real how we see their business could go forward if they heard some news about their own business, right? So we kind of have that philosophy internally at Olio, and that was born out of Mike Reynolds at Innovate Map saying, hey, our original name was episode 360. And he was like, your name sucks. And
shout out Mike.
Yeah. And I was like, you're not wrong. You're probably right. This
episode 360.
Yeah, it was kind of like episode of care, and it's like 360 view to it. And it made sense. And, everybody was doing 360 things back then, if you recall. And he's like, your name's not good. And one of the best business decisions we made is changing our name because in Indiana, and particularly in central Indiana, I think people think we have a tie to Olio Road, and we don't. It has nothing to do with that. We do more business outside of Indiana. That name is sticky, and it just means the suffix for collection, a hodgepodge of things. You think about a portfolio or a folio, and we're like we're hodgepodging together the patient's stakeholders. That these complex patients, and it'll fit on an app inside a mobile store, app store. And so it just worked, and it's been really good to us.
Heck yeah, Olio. Episode 360 does not have the same ring.
Does not.
I will let you know, it is sticky. Yeah. The name Olio, because everyone here, it's gone through 2 new tenants this building has, and they still call it Olio.
No shit.
Like all the crew at Metasource, when they were sales, they we're going over to Olio.
That's awesome.
We say we're in the old Olio building. This
Very
is
good.
not getting. It's still the Olio building.
All right. Well,
you talk about it being sticky. You got it.
Well, breaking news. I'm hoping that we can get our name on top of a building over behind the Fashion Mall. So maybe that'll quickly turn into the next Olio.
The
building.
New Olio building.
New Olio
This
building.
will always be the old Olio building.
That's right.
Okay, so take us through that. You start getting customers on. People are talking. It's working. You're growing. You expand. You grow out of this building. Take us to getting to a huge milestone, which was you've raised $31 million.
Yeah.
There had to be a seed round.
Yep.
There had to be a Series A in there.
Yep.
And then most recently, an $11 million Series B round.
Yeah. Our fast start was quickly met with a lot of adversity. Not to bore everybody, but COVID was not good for our business. We had some good breaks come our way. Then we came out of it and we raised a round, and it was not easy for us to get a Series A done.
Because at that point, how much had you raised?
We'd raised $6 or $7 million, all via angels. It all converted to what effectively became our seed round.
Yeah. Where did you, in the process, realize that you were naive at first, thinking, "Oh, we'll be cash flow positive so soon. We need $1.5 million."
It is awesome how ignorant you really are, on all things. Everybody that's confident, I think you do need a certain level of arrogance to be a startup founder. Because you got to power through some things that you think you're going to be awesome and you're not. The sales cycle in our world is 18 months long. And the cash need to just work through that long of a sales cycle is pretty heavy. So you don't actualize revenue until like we're working on deals. I got a deal in Texas right now that has been in legal for 9 months. And so that
like you have the verbal, like they're going to.
Oh
work
yeah,
with
they're
you.
like, you're the vendor of choice. We're good. We're moving on this. We like this. This is good. It's ship it off to legal.
And that's like in your sales team.
Yeah.
Your sales team's like, oh yeah, that's a win.
That's
like
a
we
win.
got that.
Yeah.
So going through,
Yeah.
and then but in your finance team, you're like, no,
It's not
like,
a win.
That's
Yeah.
not a win.
Yeah.
No, no.
Even worse, the board. You're like, no, we pretty much won there, but then no, you haven't. And so
No, that's what we like. It's like fun and like vanity, like, oh, we've closed this money, but it's like when like the contract signed and the
Yeah.
money is like wired over.
That's right. So it's these are our contracts are pretty good size. Yeah, I think that was the realization of like to keep innovating, building new features, listening to our customer, watching the market move the ball forward. It was going to take a lot of cash. And that epiphany came pretty quick. And honestly, once we embraced that, when I do this all over again, like you should be working towards cash to get cash, sell, create revenue, all the things. But like, I think sometimes in the Midwest, we get caught up on this bootstrap idea and that cash is like selling equity is a bad thing. I wasn't there, but now I'm much more like, look, every time we raise capital, we get to grow the value of the company. We get to impact more customers, et cetera. And so that's where we are.
I feel like that also is like overcorrected a little bit.
Yeah.
Like for a while there, everyone could raise on a slide deck and
That's
a good idea
100%
and some stuff,
true.
and like didn't really have a great core business.
What's weird is I don't know if I was doing something wrong. When everybody was getting rounds done, we couldn't get a round done to save our life. It was bizarre. We had United Healthcare as a customer. Big names, CVS subsidiary, Oak Street.
Oh yeah, they're popping up all over.
Yeah, and could not, like, no interest. And part of that was cap table jujitsu, as I would call it. And that's a thing. It wasn't until like the market corrected and like investors started to really look at like, what's your path to profitability? What kind of business are you running? Let's look at your P&L versus growth rate, or like that shiny widget, which I know undoubtedly is going to happen with the AI boom here as we're working through it. But it wasn't easy for us, and we didn't do real well after Series A. So we learned a lot of lessons.
Really? What do you mean by that?
I think that when you have resources, and that's probably been my most critical of myself on our journey, almost 8 years now, is like, we did a $13 million Series A. It's kind of unbelievable to watch cash like that. I mean, when we were in this building, we had days we were sub 30 days cash on hand. And then you get, boom, you got 5 years cash on hand based on the current head count. And we went out and we kind of did a hiring spree. We did what you do when you get that type of gas in the tank. And I don't know that we made the best decisions for our business as far as like adding to our team. And it just took us a while to get off the starting blocks. I think maybe a year slower than I would like. And eventually we got our footing and started to go again. But
Isn't that crazy too, where it's like you get the most money?
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know unless you just like grew up incredibly wealthy.
I did not.
Right. It's like
Quite the opposite.
It's like you get $14 million. 13.
Yeah.
$13 million comes into your company bank account. At one point you had 30 days cash on hand. You're like trying to figure it
Yeah,
out.
like in a 6-month swing from like broke to, oh my God, there's a lot of money here.
And you have the pressure. It's like you need to spend this money.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to invest in you to just let it sit in your.
That's
and
right.
Earn 0.6% interest in a savings account. They want you to invest that into your company to grow the business, to make more to make more shareholder value.
That's right.
And so you almost are like, oh, I gotta spend this.
In the word scale, everybody scale.
So what were a few of those hiccups, and what if there are other founders out there listening, or like a current founder? Like what mistakes, what landmines did you guys step on that you could uncover for us?
Had I gone back in time, like as a founder, you're your best salesperson. I don't care. It doesn't matter what you're the founder of. You have the most belief. And this is not news to anybody. You're your best salesperson. You're your best storyteller, right? There's no doubt when you're in front of somebody that you want to be a customer. Early stage, I should have stayed much closer to the storytelling even. I didn't necessarily have to be the sales leader, but I needed to be good at stewarding the story, if you will. I didn't do a great job with that. I hired a resume-built kind of revenue leader, CRO, thinking it was just going to happen for me at Olio based on their ability to get trained on the product, go sell it, right? And I think that was a little naive. While they could get trained on the product and go sell it, they didn't know how to ask discovery questions or get to the root of the problem and some of the basics, and that takes time. And so
that's really interesting because there is this whole piece, like at some point you do have to like the buttons pushed of sales like can't all come from a founder. Like getting out of founder-led sales is important for growth.
And terribly important. Very, very important.
But being able to distill that mission and be able to distill what you're actually like, because that service, it's a CRM for medic, like, you know, like that's what it does.
Yeah, that's what it does.
But that's not what Olio is.
That's right. And then if you sit, if me and you are, if you're a potential customer, me and you were having a conversation, it wouldn't look like a sales call. I'd be asking you questions about your operations and what your vision for your organization is versus feature dumping about my product, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that it took a little bit of time to get to mature.
I think that's an interesting piece too, especially when you're early on in a business. Obviously, you want to close every deal you sit in, but when you're the founder, you can kind of see like you can start to like pattern recognize different conversations. Like even if we got like that wouldn't be like the right customer for us, but like, and you can be like more of an abundant mindset,
right?
Versus if you're a quota carrying salesperson, you're like, no, anyone we got, like we need to get in the door, like I want to close every deal that we ever talk to. And it's like actually, I don't know. As a founder, I'm like, I would much rather close 50% of the right customers versus like 100% of the wrong customers.
And there's a ton of truth in that. Back to our struggles. I mean, I think that when I went to our board in January, I was like, look, we're going to do this one thing and we're going to be the best we possibly can at it. And we're going to put kind of blinders on. And even being somewhat diligent with our sales team, I'm like, no, we don't do that. We don't sell that. These are your prospects. These are not. You know, and that's like hard to do.
That is hard because you're like, especially too, it's like you're thinking of the future and how quickly everything's innovating. It's like, well, what if we did that? Like, we could make some. That's a pretty good payday there. Yeah, and then you just end up wasting your time. It ends up like,
well, look at your niche. I mean, you guys are laser focused on this state. That's it, right? Yeah. Like it's somebody from Columbus, Ohio could call you tomorrow.
They do.
And then guess what? You're next thing you know, you're no longer get in, you're get Midwest.
Yeah, right. And it's like it's so tempting if like, oh, we've cracked this code to blah, but we haven't tapped out. We haven't like gotten all that we can do. We haven't done all we can do in the state of Indiana. That's right. So like I'm not even thinking about other it's like we have to be laser focused on what's winning right now. And then one day we can figure out what the next move is.
That's right.
But once like the systems work here.
And I will say, I don't know that we were that good at that. And that blame falls solely on my shoulders. Their innovation at some point has to stop or have some boundaries and guidelines core to your customer you really can go get.
Yeah.
If you're building a business.
Because, I mean, all entrepreneurship is going to give you headwinds.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be friction.
No doubt.
And I think that one of the greatest skills that founders can have is knowing the walls they have to break through.
Yep.
And just, like, keep and knowing the, like we need to pivot and move around
That's
that.
right.
And we need to, like, you know, and being not shiny object syndrome.
That's right.
Like, oh, that's good. You're like the dog chasing cars.
Exactly right. I mean, that is a hard fundamentally to do. Even now, like we have a team that works and they're kind of our innovation team. And I still daily am like, y'all stop thinking of what could be, go deeper where we can. Interesting give take there.
Today's episode of Get In is brought to you by Cowpokes Work and Western, baby, a local Indiana shop that has built its name on quality clothing and boots that fit your American lifestyle. They carry trusted brands of boots, hats, and clothing that work just as well for everyday life as they do for a night out. What I love about Cowpokes is how approachable they make your experience. You can walk in not knowing a thing about a pair of boots or a hat, and the staff will get you fitted with something that looks good and lasts. For me, that's the difference between a one-time purchase and something you keep reaching for over and over. If you're ready to upgrade your boots, your wardrobe, or even just your go-to jacket, Cowpokes is a place that we send people. Catch us up to today.
Yeah.
Obviously, I just saw the closing of an $11 million Series B round. There may or may not be some celebrations that were had somewhere around the country. I won't ever tell. I don't know anything. But congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
How did we get there and what made that? I mean, especially in a time where, one, it's hard to close rounds.
Yeah.
Like, you know, raising venture isn't easy in 2024, 2025.
Yep.
What were the milestones that got you there and why was that the right decision and what's coming next?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, number one, I think we made chose our Series A investor, and we chose a absolutely amazing partner. Fulcrum Equity Partners, based out of Atlanta, have been phenomenal to us. Even in the times where we were messing things up, they were critical. Don't get me wrong, but they were supportive. And I got a great question in a board meeting. What would you do with $10 million? How would you grow the business faster, quicker, go deeper where you're having success? And we built a game plan and kind of pitched that, and it wasn't. We could have went outside and probably raised around pretty easily. Frankly, we were growing at 65%. Our retention rate was 125%.
Oh boy!
Yeah. So the
you had the metrics.
We had the metrics. And we weren't big enough yet, and there was still room on the cap table for a B round to be an interesting thing for a lot of investors. And it just made sense. Like, let's turn around and let's do this thing with the people that brought us here. And Fulcrum led again and did a cool thing. We're able to, even reward early partners and folks at Olio like Meg Stewart. If they wanted to sell some shares, they got to take some chips off the table. So it was a really exciting time in our company. We did a company kickoff in Arizona, and we had a ton of fun one night. Oh boy. Maybe too much fun. We had one employee that slept in the airport that night, but those are the types of memories you're trying to create.
Yeah, and like one day you'll become a big you'll become a bigger corporation,
right,
and
right.
like you'll never remember, or you'll never be able to close a Series B again.
That's right.
And I mean, like, not for Olio, right? Like, it's done. It's done. It's like we talked about those moments, right? We talked about in those journey, and it's like I feel like startups, right? You have like, MVP, first customer, seed, pre-seed, like blah, 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 Series A, Series B. And then it's like you just become big. You're like,
it can happen fast. I mean, it's wild. But so what's next? I mean, one, I'm very interested in substance use and severe mental illness.
Oh.
It is like the thing that has the same disconnected, siloed problems that some of our kind of traditional, which is more like elderly care folks, have an event at the hospital, they go to long-term care. We got in that space about a year and a half ago, and it's very interesting. So we're going to put some things to work with.
One, like, obviously people are talking about their personal journeys with mental health and talk about substance abuse, more than ever.
Yeah.
But also, like, you might have a psychiatrist that is the one prescribing you your medicine, but you also have a therapist, and you also have all these different, like, there are different parties involved in this as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, the cash runs the healthcare, as much as I don't wish that was the case. But as more insurance companies get involved in managed Medicaid, what I didn't realize, it was new to me, is that a lot of these folks that are on these Medicaid plans walk into these inpatient psychiatric hospitals. They're homeless. They're heavily addicted to drugs. And they do the hard thing and walk into a hospital. That takes some guts, right? There's something going on.
We had someone from Wheeler Mission on, and he talked about, like, how, I don't know, a large majority of homelessness isn't just like, okay, we ran out of money and now we're on the street. Like, imagine if like everyone cut off all of your money.
Yeah.
Would there be someone to take you in?
Right.
Like 95% of people have someone that would
right.
like give them a couch to sleep on and help them get back on their feet.
Yep.
What happens with this, and especially within our city, is there's this just constant cycle of whether it's drugs or alcohol or whatever it might be, and it just like withers away all of their relationships, and then they're left there. And like that is a very hard thing to do. Just I have no other options. I have to figure out this root cause of all the pain in my life. I have to walk in the door there.
And so we do a lot of business in Arizona, and warmer climate, there's a lot of that. We started working with Banner Health, big health system out in Arizona, and they asked us, hey, everything you're doing with us with these nursing facilities, we have patients discharging from these psych hospitals to detox centers or to residential treatment facilities, and we need to coordinate with those providers in those, you're trying to get somebody to stay through treatment that is dealing with some things.
Yeah.
And so we started kind of looking at that thing, and we didn't have to write any new code. We did some front end UX work and deployed, and boom, it was humming. And now I'm like, wow, this is a huge opportunity that is ripe for innovation, and just, it's already what we do, back to like not chasing the shiny widget.
Yeah.
And let's just give this provide. So now we're pretty scaled in Arizona, and then we're going to take that thing national. We're going to blow the doors off with that deal.
Let's go. And was that like, hey, if we close the Series B, like this is what we're going to go run down?
A couple things we knew we could do really, really well and be fast. Like that's at Olio, my leadership team probably gets really frustrated. I want to be the fastest at everything. I don't care if it's paying our bills. Like it even drives me crazy. We found a check here in this office because I'm like, that means the books weren't clean, And so we're going to go hard at that market, and that's a big part of that round.
What can the community, what can the state of Indiana do? What are you looking for? Are there one of the big pieces is when you raise capital, a lot of that goes to, I feel like, staff and like human capital.
100%. So we're at 50 employees. 1 in every 5 of our employees is an Aura Fellow.
No way.
Yeah, I think we're at 10.
I mean, let's go. Yeah. Shout out.
What can the state of Indiana do? I mean, I think there is just such an opportunity. It's hard to say this, but if people inside healthcare or even any industry that's hard to break into, give early Hoosiers a chance. Like Dennis Murphy's one of my mentors from IU Health. They gave us a chance. James Porter down in Evansville, the CEO or president of Deaconess, they gave us a chance. They could have chose any vendor to do anything. We got to where we are, and we don't get there without those two systems that have all the cash in the world, frankly, could choose any big enterprise solution.
Yeah.
And they gave us a chance. And so I think, we got to take care of ourselves a little bit. And that might, I'm not saying, put your business at risk, but if there's an opportunity to let a company that looks like it's being run efficiently and can execute, give them a chance.
That is a big thing, I think, in Indiana, too, is your reputation, or whoever the founder, you start to, I think early on, it's heavily reliant on that. Are you a person, even if the solution, the product, the thing doesn't over-deliver the way that it's going to, if you're working towards that, and you have a reputation for delivering and being someone of your word, like sticking to that and doing your best, like I do think you can, some of those opportunities can open up, and then it's your job as the owner, the founder, to over-deliver.
Over-deliver, yep.
Yeah.
Just crush it. And then you're going to get chance number 5, 10, 15, 20.
Yeah. Wow. What about roles? What kind of people are you looking for?
We're pretty, I mean, it's the most basic thing, but if you're smart as hell, we will find a spot for you. I mean, I know that seems nuts, but we hired an Aura Fellow, former Aura Fellow, Emily Lemaire Troyer, and I don't know if she even knew what job she was accepting, but she was like, I'm smart, these people are smart, and she is crushing it. She's now working inside our finance department and helping with board prep and all these types of things. But specifically, we're going to continue to hire engineering. I have no doubt we're going to need more QA engineers. Almost every piece of our development team is local in our office 5 days a week, killing it. Marketing is going to continue to grow, and we will definitely add to our finance team. There's no doubt.
Heck yeah. I love that. Well, we're going to round up the show. We're going to talk all things Indiana.
Let's do it.
Sound like a plan to you? First off, where are you from?
I grew up in Evansville.
West
side of Evansville, to be
West
specific.
side. Yeah. Are you a Castle High School guy?
No, that's east side. That's the,
east?
you go.
Oh, wait, east, west. Okay.
Yeah. So if Evansville doesn't have a south side because that's the Ohio River.
Yeah.
East-west side is a big deal. Like you
West side does the Fall Fest.
Yes.
The Nut Club.
Yeah, I grew up about a mile from Franklin Street where Fall Festival.
Wow. Okay. What high school?
Evansville Wrights.
Wrights.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. And then you went to IU.
Yeah.
And that's where then you ended up in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So lifelong Hoosier.
Yeah. I was born in New Orleans. My parents split up. Made it to my grandpa was a founding professor of University of Southern Indiana, and so my mom grew up in Southern Indiana, and we came back when my parents split up. She's a teacher and retired now. But yeah, I've been in Evansville since I was 3 years old, or in Indiana since I was 3 years old.
This next question is brought to you by our friends at JC Hart. They're a leader in creating enjoyable living experiences at apartment communities all across Indiana and beyond. Check them out at homeisjchart.com. My question for you, Ben, why do you call Indiana home?
Obviously, heartstrings are a big deal. I'm a passionate sports fan. I actually even think about like my retirement years being centered around the time zone that I can watch Indiana sports. Isn't that wild? Like Pacific time zone might be better because I'll be older and I'll be able to watch IU basketball at an appropriate time for a 70-year-old person.
Yes.
You know?
Like you won't have to stay up till like 11.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
right.
yeah. Like,
That could work, you know?
5 o'clock to, you get over by 8 o'clock.
Yeah. But so my wife went to Florida State. And so she grew up a Hoosier, went to Florida State, and like had an appetite to move, get around. But like I have lived in Indianapolis since 2003, and I love it here. I think this is the coolest city in the country. It pissed me off when all that Pacers stuff and all the national media talking about Indianapolis in a negative or Indiana in a weird light. And it's a great place to raise your family, and I'm gonna be here forever in one way or fashion.
As an IU grad, what's your go-to spot in Bloomington? Where do people need to check out?
Buffalo Louie's is the joint, you know.
So have you been hitting up the Carmel one
I
now?
can't. I mean, the DoorDash bill's heavy on those wings. Definitely Buffalo Louie's. Dagwood's is the go-to back in the day, just for the hangover food. What's cool about, like, my wife just went back to Florida State this past weekend, and it's all brand new developments. And I was like, so they don't have like a Kirkwood going down anymore? And she's like, not really. And it, you know, they've got a million brand new, I'm sure, awesome bars and restaurants, but like Kirkwood with, you know, Upstairs Pub and Nick's and Kilroy's, they're all still the same as they were in 1999, kind of. I mean, they've got new pieces to it, but the logo's the same. And
Yeah,
it is what it
the
is.
spot, you know.
Yeah, it's unique. It's cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Very, very. That whole little stretch is slick. And our friends Connor Hitchcock at Homefield.
Oh,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
opened like their first ever retail spot down
They
there.
do good work.
Oh, phenomenal stuff. Okay, so today you're a startup founder. You know, you just raised your Series B. You got 50 employees. But what was your dream job as a kid?
Professional baseball player, first and foremost, if we're being honest.
At what age did you realize that wasn't in the cards?
18.
Oh, wow. So it was still in the cards until 18.
I had a little bit of I had high school talent. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Like, I was a good high school player. And then you realize, like, you see what a person better than a high school player is, and you're like, I'm not that.
Yeah,
You know?
right.
And genetics is probably the thing that's the killer for all of us, right? But yeah, I realized then, like, you know, it's not going to happen for me. And then I don't be totally blunt. I grew up in a family of educators. Everybody's a teacher. I just thought I'm gonna be a teacher and a coach and make it happen. And I went to IU with that kind of mindset.
Yeah. And then and when did you realize you were going to get into business?
The best part about IU is the network you create. I mean, it really is. I mean, shit, half the people on that early stage round is all IU network. I was doing like your student like observation thing as an ed major. And I was like, I'm not cut out to teach high school. I hate these kids in this class right now. Yeah, I just realized I'm not patient enough to be a teacher. And that's when kind of like all things. And back then, like, if you recall, like there was a lot of people wanted to get in pharmaceutical sales, and med device became a big deal. And I in college was like, I think that's what I want to do.
Yeah. So as you've grown, right, you guys are at 50 employees now. What is the secret to maintaining great company culture while also scaling headcount?
We are really intentional about hiring people that fit who we are. Like, we are going to be doing fun-loving, exciting things. We are going to make a ton of mistakes, but we are going to go as fast as we possibly can. And so we hire like-minded, we interview that way, and everybody says these things, but what you know is when it's not right? And it's not fun to talk about letting people go. If you are really intentional about hiring people that have the same vision, mission, values as you do, when it's not a fit, you got to do that thing. And I think one of the things we've been really good about and just killing it right now is we got 50 people that are all in. It is exciting. It's fun. We quit work at 1 o'clock on Fridays.
I mean, everyone's quitting work at 1 o'clock on Fridays.
That's right.
Like you either own it or you don't.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the dumbest. As a lifelong person in the sales channel, this is officially we hired a new CRO in May. I always have revenue responsibility, but I don't have it the way I've ever had it in my career. But as a salesperson, like, our week should be done by 1 or 2 o'clock on Friday. Like, if you're grinding out sales calls at 4 o'clock, like, means you're probably not hitting your numbers. That's how I look at it, right?
Yeah, and it's like no one is going to answer at 4 o'clock on a Friday anyway.
Kidding. So,
like, once you get past, like, we don't post anything Friday afternoons. Like, no one's reading
doing
it.
Like,
no.
and so let's embrace it and like let's make it a part of our culture.
Like, there's two types of companies out there: the ones that quit work at 1 o'clock on Fridays and liars.
That's right. Yeah,
and it's like you might be hanging out, like doing some stuff, maybe prepping for that, but you're not like actively like doing a bunch of like hard, especially like outbound research.
Yeah,
tasks.
like and be selfish. Like you're running your business. Like, what do I want to really want to be sitting here? Like, as the founder and like a leader in the company, do I want to be sitting here making sure people are working at 3:00 on Friday? No, I would love to spend time with them. Let's go get a beer. It's 4:00. You know, let's
yeah, it
get to
doesn't
know each
mean
other.
that you have to like leave. Like I also think there's the other side of that too, where it's especially early on in companies where it's like you don't you don't have to hang out all the time, but it's like, oh well, we don't have to be working, but let's like hang out and become friends and all the stuff there.
Yeah, it's what's really cool is it's not intentional, right? It's not scheduled. It's not on anybody's calendar.
Yeah,
and it's becoming a little bit of a challenge. We got a lot of Pacific time zone infrastructure employees now, 10 or so. And so it's only 10 a.m. when our rest of our team is c'est la vie. And so that's
deuces, y'all.
Yeah, so
appreciate you.
That's creating a little bit of problem, but we'll work through that. That's no big deal.
Okay, so you've been doing this whole startup, well, not a startup anymore, but like, tech company, growing it, doing the whole thing for 8 years now.
Yeah, 8 years in February.
What's one book you'd recommend that every founder needs to read?
Oh, dude, this is my favorite one. It's actually an entertaining read. Shoe Dog by Killer.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Phil Knight book.
Blue ribbon shoes, right?
Dude, yeah.
Like going to Japan and doing the whole thing.
It's wild. Like that book helped me. I bought it. This was like, I think I bought it for our leadership team when we were it was like me and 3 people. I was like, guys, this is pretty cool. It basically is a permission to see how a company that's insanely successful screwed up a lot of things. And it's entertaining, it's fun, it's an easy read, but yeah, that's the one.
It's so interesting too. Now, like, there's like a quote, maybe it's from like Batman or something, but you die a hero or see yourself become like that's Nike's journey. Like now everyone's like, oh, big Nike, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but if you read Shoe Dog, you're like, I love him again. It's such a cool journey. Phil Knight's story is like all the shit and like how hard he had to grind to just like will this shoe company and the sport of running in general. And like when they go through the part where Steve Prefontaine died, it's crazy.
It is. And even I find myself Phil's pretty open about employees early on that he thought were terrible and goofy, and he thought or considered firing several times. And then they become an emerging star of this organization over time. And you're like, wow, as a founder, you can see you're constantly assessing your business, right? And the levers you want to push or pull and the things you can task or hope that people want to help you get to the next level. And I've seen that play out in our company where folks, I'm like, well, that person's, I don't know. And now you're like, how amazing are they?
Yeah.
And so that kind of, I find myself drawn to those experiences in that book.
Did you watch the movie too?
You talking about Air?
Not it's like a similar.
It's kind of like post book, right? So it is similar, but it puts Phil Knight in a kind of not great light in that scenario.
It's kind of funny.
It is good.
Because the whole thing is it's fake Jordan too.
Yeah.
They never show actual Jordan's face. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a good recommendation. Is there any other advice you'd have for, startup founders out there as they're on their journey?
The number one thing I would say is a solid C+ at a quick pace can get you to a milestone quicker than that A. Growth and speed perspective. I'm like, look, guys, what I've learned is you can get a lot of traction with B work, B effort if it's at a quicker pace. And I don't want that to sound too confusing. It's choose pace over perfection.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my message.
I agree. It's you're moving. And a lot of times, if you just take forever, it just gets that's the whole thing of not being corporate. It's we can make stuff happen quickly.
Yeah, you're killing this podcast with an iPhone and whatever, right?
Yeah, right?
You know what I mean? You didn't have to. You have it now. And I'm not saying you can't have perfection and can't have the things that seem perfect.
But you'll get quicker. Instead of taking a long time and being slow to get to perfection,
right?
You'll actually get to perfection quicker by starting to go.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
just putting it out and then being okay, let's iterate. Let's go. Let's go.
It's I'm banging on my dev team right now. We're about to launch some AI features. And I'm like, doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it. Let's go. We'll see what the users think. Even if it breaks, we'll say it's free, whatever. Let's just see what happens. And so I choose pace over perfection.
Pace over perfection. There it is. That might be the title. That's a good one. We've come to the part of the show. These are the same 3 questions that we ask every guest who comes on here, all about the state of Indiana. First thing, you guys do a lot of work out in Arizona, growing in Utah. All across, your investors are from Atlanta.
Yeah.
But what's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
All right. Am I allowed to have some fun with this question? Okay. So I think it's important. Growing up in Southern Indiana, and I think this is Indiana universal, is if you're going to do business with somebody from Indiana and they schedule a meeting with you, Hoosiers love the double E at the end of the day of the week. So we're here on a Tuesday. It's funny, like before I had kids, somebody said, when you see a stroller, you're going to start seeing, like, you didn't realize there's strollers everywhere. Now that I've like opened your ears to the double E, anybody over 45 or 50 that says, hey, let's have dinner it's going to be on a Friday. And so, or a Saturday. And Tom Allen, IU's football coach, I couldn't do a press conference without saying, we can't wait to play ball on Saturday.
Yeah, we would always talk about, we had a coach. Well, actually, he was the IU coach for a while, Bill Lynch.
Yeah.
He coached us at DePauw.
Oh, right on.
So Jalen,
yeah.
And he would always get better Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
Get better Tuesday.
And if somebody's coming into our state, and I kind of joke around it now, like let's have a nice Tuesday.
Yep, there it is. That's something you need to know. You need to know the dialect.
Yes,
there we
right.
go.
That's right.
Next, this is your opportunity to let us know something across the state that more people need to know. Not enough people are talking about this.
Yeah.
What is a hidden gem in Indiana?
I've been thinking about this. This has been a conversation around our office for a month or two, and it's stressed me out. If you haven't been to a Friday night at the Wrights Bowl, you have got to do it. It is a driver half a mile from the banks of the Ohio River, seats 10,000. The community treats it like Notre Dame football down there. People will their tickets to their families. It's Wrights football, and even they share the stadium with Mater Dei.
They will their tickets down?
100%. Pickup trucks back up. It is a big part of the culture of the west side of Evansville is Wrights football. As I'm looking back on it, I'm like, how did I not participate in this?
I mean, holy smokes, that thing is sick.
It's unbelievable.
Like because it's big cement.
I think
like
I could screw this up. I think it was originally built as a retention wall for flooding against the Ohio River. And they were like, look, let's just build this stadium inside it. And when you see that wall, that's the home section. So when Wrights or Mater Dei, and I'm a Wrights guy, so it's usually Wrights, is rolling, they will pack that sucker. And I love it. Unbelievable.
Okay, listen to the history of the Wrights Bowl. The Wrights Bowl was born by accident. It was originally planned as a retaining wall for the new F.J. Wrights High School. Foresight by a school member noted that with some small changes, a football stadium could be made too.
Yeah.
In 1921, the first year in which Wrights High School was fully accredited by the North Central Association, the 10,000-seat Wrights Stadium was completed. The first 2 years was a reserve schedule, and then in 1921, Wrights began varsity play.
Working here, you run around a lot of cathedral people. Shout out to the Hasbrooks who bought this church from us. They're big cathedral people. But I remember telling some cathedral folks that cathedral was going down to play Evansville Wrights in the Wrights Bowl, and they had Kofi Hughes and some studs. And I'm like, they're going to get rolled because they're not going to know what it's like to run into that many fans that are going to be just as juiced as you are.
Yeah.
And they did. I think they got beat by 50.
No way.
Yeah, it was
That's
a
wild.
rout.
The Wrights Bowl.
Yeah.
Is it interesting too? Aren't both high schools in Evansville? Isn't one Evansville or FJ Wrights and one is Wrights Memorial?
Yeah, so Catholic and public. So Wrights is the public on the west side. Evansville Wrights Memorial is Catholic.
Who was Wrights?
There's a Wrights home. I assume he's a philanthropist of some sorts back in the day.
Francis Joseph Wrights, 1841 to 1930, was an American banker, civic leader, and philanthropist in Evansville. For more than 50 years, he was a leading figure in the Evansville business life. Retiring in 1924 as president of National City Bank. Wrights was the director of the bank for more than 40 years, president for 31. After he retired,
a rich guy.
He devoted his time to philanthropy. He gave away, disposing of the vast wealth he had accumulated. Wow, okay. So he gave millions of dollars to various charities, churches, and educational organizations. Wow.
Yeah, you see that name quite a bit.
Right.
Obviously, 2 high schools in Evansville.
I mean, he had to have given a lot of money
Yeah.
to get 2 high schools.
Yeah, you get 2 high schools.
And they still can't pronounce the guy's name right.
I presume he's Catholic because one of them's a Catholic school.
Yep, he is a
That's it.
Catholic guy. Yeah, that's true. Wow. I mean, interesting guy. Someone, if anyone has any fun stories about about Mr. Francis Joseph Wright's, let us know. Yeah, the Wright's home, the corner of First and Chestnut Streets in Evansville.
Yeah.
Now the museum.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
The more you know. Now you know who Francis Joseph Wright's was.
That's right. And I'm serious. Go check if you Wright's Bowl it's a vibe.
I wonder if there's a home game. I'm going down for
I think there's a home game every Friday because they share with Modern Day calls it their home. So I think it's almost guaranteed.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going down for Fall Fest this year.
There you go.
So I'll be down there.
Are you going to eat a brain sandwich?
Yeah, I think they're going to make me. Yo! All right, final question for you. This is where we find new guests or other people in the state that we need to know about. Who's a Hoosier we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
I'm going to go with John Wortman.
Vallejo.
Yeah, John is one of the founders of Vallejo. I think his title's president. I could be wrong there. But he is wicked smart. He's nationally connected, but he brings it back to Indiana as much as he can. Helped us so much in the early days from some of the most basic things. Like a lot of the infrastructure that is in and around our business is through his network. And he's not just a financial advisor. He's a connector of people, and that's a big deal. So I would say, they just opened a new headquarters in Carmel. Their reach is pretty big. I know their business is going to continue to grow. He's got an investment fund with Scott Craigie and Mike Reynolds, so they're putting cash into businesses. A great human and a good friend.
John Wortman. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. I listened to him speak at an event.
Yeah,
maybe
you
a month
should
ago
have
or
him
so.
on. He's down to earth, great guy. Probably has killer founder stories too. Those money guys tend to know a lot of things.
They do know a lot.
You want some inside baseball? That may be one of the guys.
Yeah, I love it. Ben, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing about, taking the leap, leaving a stable career, and going to just chase down this obsession, right? Back in 2017, 2018, you launched this thing in our very build. Well, I guess you ended up, second stop in our building.
For the most part.
And just like the way you talk, the way you present the company, you're just, I don't know, very relatable, especially in the thing of healthcare where it's so hard
It's
and there's
hard.
so many different things. Like to be relatable and have personality and like explain it in a way that us normal people over here can understand. I appreciate that. It was so much fun to learn about the journey from here and a couple employees to through Series A to now at $11 million Series B where you're going out and growing. I'm really, really excited to see what the future looks like for Olio, and we'll be rooting for you from back in the old HQ.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get In. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all of my gear recommendations at sweetwater.com. If you want a behind the scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.